All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back yet again to the ESL Pro League Finals live here from São Paulo, Brazil. We're getting ready. It's a big matchup here. NiP versus SK. Moses, are you ready for it?
It's not too shabby. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I like these jerseys as well that SK's got going on. The yellow and green. It's good. It's good stuff for the home crowd. This is gonna be sick. I'm actually really excited because obviously we have Michael playing for NiP, Fallen on SK. Both like playmaking operas. Both like very exciting play styles when they're feeling in the groove. Fallen insanely aggressive, open things up for his team. Michael can just seemingly pull magic out of nowhere. So pretty pumped to see those two operas kind of go head to head. And I don't even know if necessarily they'll duel each other in terms of an op-and-out battle, but it is just going to be sweet to see how each of them tries to impact the game. Each of them trying to make plays throughout this match.
All right, well, it does look like we are going live with the match now, guys. So let's get into it once again. It is the Ninjas in Pajamas going up against SK Gaming. It's going to be here on Cobblestone, and the pistol round is going live right now. 10 seconds, and we'll get into it. SK are going to be starting off on the T side, and NiP will be jumping onto the CT side. Let's get directly into it and see how things are going to play out between these two titans of the Counter-Strike scene.
Oh, jersey's so sick. And a hat as well. It's just incredible.
It is a nice hat.
Yeah, well, pistol round is, it's going to be live here. And a nice flashbang towards mid at least forces back any kind of early information that Michael wanted to make. There he is. There's one of the plays he tries to make with the P2K. He gets punished. He's right on to 28, but Freiburg winning a drop. Can he get one more? Get Right bails him out. Michael still close up. Fallen's got to be so careful. He's not ready for it, and that's a sick headshot. 5-on-2 advantage for NiP. And SK, this pistol round cannot be going any worse.
Taco hunting for something here, but not going to be able to find any shots at all connecting. Taco and Cold both stuck over here at the exit towards long A, just trying to get themselves to the site so they can find a plant at the very least. Cold Zera, though, patience ends up working out great for him. He's able to knock out Makalele, and now they try to do more, but unfortunately Fortis is going to be able to knock down Taco, and it's just Cold Zera left. He will not last long, however, out in the open there. Get Right's going to finish the job, and it's going to be Ninjas in Pajamas that'll pick up the pistol round here and start off strong with the lead.
Yeah, I mean, sick job by Get Right. I mean, that was intended to be a split towards the A-bomb site. Freiburg gets the first kill, and it looks like he's about to fall, but Get Right bails him out. So that's a critical kill to find, because if that split's allowed to come into play, that A defense maybe is much weaker and actually gets exploited. So really nice job holding drop, which can be so difficult on pistol round with those Glocks able to get up close range with the extra mobility they provide and the extra bullets. And now NiP just has to survive the second round. It is an investment from the Brazilians. Fallen has a smoke, and the rest of them have Tech 9 armor. Cold has a Deagle armor. So a pretty intimidating buy as second rounds go.
SK not wasting any time at all, however, trying to line up their early round push here. Taco, Cold Zera, and Fur ready to push into the B-bombs if need be, and Fallen and FNX just on the edge of long A once more. Proposing their own push into that area of the map as well here, but NiP spread out across the map. Got mainly Exist, Freiburg, and Get Ray watching over to the B-bomb site. A fairly typical split from these guys. And Forrest and Makalele watching out for the A hit here. Keeping the options open and actually playing it back pretty passively with the exception of Freiburg over towards the broken wall.
Yeah, it's a solid defense over at that B site though. Freiburg close up with the UMP, and then Exist far back in the chicken coop with an M4. And there's no nades, there's no Molotov to flush him out. There's no smoke to really block him. Well, Fallen does have one. It remains to be seen where he uses that. If they use it on chicken coop, it would force Exist to be passive or get out into the open, but it might not help them cross into the site with Get Right and Freiburg there.
Freiburg's going to toss it the Molotov, also catching the first player, and that's the bomb going down too. I think the Molotov would have cut it off, so they're not going to be able to retrieve that anytime soon. The Pop Flash are trying to sway them regardless. He's just waiting for more. Not trying to overstay his welcome, though, as exactly that can happen. All three of them are going to move out. They overwhelm him for the trade. Exist and Forest, though, were able to trade them out, and with that, they shut it down pretty quickly. The loss of Freiburg, they managed to take down everyone else on SK without anyone else going down. That is a clean second round from NiP now.
I mean, in reality, Freiburg wins that round by the Molotov, even if he doesn't get a kill, because that smoke was for chicken coop. It was to force Exist out into the open or force him to do absolutely nothing inside the smoke and then be in a really awkward situation. But the Molotov is timed like the second after the smoke is thrown, so it delays it. It buys time for Exist to get into a new position. It prevents them from really taking advantage of that smoke. So really, really nice utility usage from Freiburg, and now fast-paced down drop. Get Right's here, the shotgun, one kill. Can he get a second one? He's being passive. He's falling away, letting Freiburg do the work, and he comes back for a second. Good bonus money for the shotgun, but nice work from Freiburg Get Right in these first 3 rounds of that drop zone.
Already sitting at 7.5k after that play there, too, as he picks up, I believe, 2 kills with a shotgun. It ends up falling down so quickly there as everybody from SK just gets absolutely destroyed in the drop area there. But finally, now they get the real investments going. 5 AKs across the board. Utility's actually going to be very light just because of how little money they were able to scavenge up here through kills and other means in those first 3 rounds there. So this is going to have to be more than likely a very direct take from them, and we'll see that in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, the investment they had in the second round on the SK side, that's a lot of money spent. That's Tech9's armor. There's a Deagle on Cold as well. So they used a lot, and this is kind of this is the result that we see so frequently, is that fourth round from Terra sides after a second round investment, you are missing a lot of tools you would like to use in the way of nades. So they're not going to have a whole lot to play with, and this is perhaps why you don't see SK applying too much pressure over towards the A bomb site. They know they really don't have the utility to take over those A halls safely and then fall back towards B. So they have to kind of just wait, see if there's going to be any aggression, and just make their decision and just commit to it right when the utility is used.
Rest of SK now slowly creeping forward here. A couple of players posturing up to maybe move into drop here in a moment, but for the most part, again, leaning itself towards a B hit as we would normally expect on this map. And NiP are ready for it. 3 of their guys stacked up to prepare for an all-in hit at any moment here, and also quite a bit of drop pressure we are seeing now from SK, slowly moving up towards it. They've gotten to the edge, and they're not meeting any resistance from NiP initially here. They're kind of going to let them into it. We'll see if SK do decide to move into this site in just a second, as they're hesitating too. But finally, there's that flashbang, and it's actually going to work out great. GetRight moves in, another kill with the shotgun for him, and he knows the second player is up there somewhere. Already knocking down Fallen, and Fur will be the second target if they re-peek. It actually looks like FNX is going to move in now to regroup, so they're going to try to push it, but I don't think he's that close. He tries to get another kill in this round. Doesn't work out. Fur finally dropping the shotty, and they trade it down to a 4v4, but time is low, and they need to start this, and another flashbang just sits perfectly. Taco doesn't matter, though. He's going to push out while blind, and he moves forward, spots some of the players here, but NiP are holding strong. The drop down, 3-1 trade. coldzera going to try to pull up a miracle 1v2, down at 15 HP, and only 13 seconds to work with here. Stuck behind the new steps, lost the bomb. It's sitting over there in front of him. Just not going to work out here. He's going to try and fall back in the tunnel and save the rifle. Yeah, he has to. There's no other option. That nice defense from NiP. It looked like it was on the verge of collapsing, but they hold on just enough. Great job by GetRight. 1 kill and drop and goes back for more, but SK gets stumped there on that hit. I mean, Freiburg on top of the tree, he was there forever. They didn't clear him out, so he's able to recover. Taco was creating great space for his team, but they just couldn't take advantage of it. Look at this investment from SK. No plant. And they're going to do a little bit of a half buy as this money bonus has built up. The losing bonus is at 4 rounds. The next round it'll be maxed out. So they do go for Tech9 and armor and utility. That's 4 players all stuck right around 1,200. So with the losing bonus, they'll be able to have solid buy no matter what. And now SK again posturing up over here towards the broken wall approach. Same as many of these previous rounds before. Haven't seen anything remotely close to just a direct A hit as of yet here after that first pistol round. They tried to play with it a little bit there, but ever since they've been able to pick up some bigger guns, we haven't seen anything of the like. And now Taco is going to waste no time jumping down through broken wall. Freiburg holds the line though. FNX trying to look for the trade. Pre-firing at all these spots, but just not catching anything at all. coldzera having some better luck picking up a kill, and FNX just brute forcing his way through. Him and Fur managed to piece together 2 more pickups there, and now all of a sudden it's down to Makalele and GetRight, and they're completely smoked off. There's nothing that they can do at the moment. They've got to wait for it to fade, or, well, they're going to try to directly push back in, but that's where Fur is going to punish. Takes down Makalele, and GetRight has no chance at this one now. It would be a miracle play for him to pull off at what's now a 1v3. Yeah, he's got to try and fall back, and I don't think they're going to let him. FNX is already pushing up towards the double doors, waiting to hear that, but, I mean, the smokes, the execution from SK wins him that round. Good kills with the Tech9s, getting aggressive through the smokes. You could see GetRight wanted to get involved in the action the whole time, but he had to run through 2 smokes, and he just couldn't find himself. So that defense does crumble. After 4 rounds straight, SK steal one away with just the Tech9s. A little bit unfortunate for NiP, but they have good money. They're going to be able to buy in the next round no matter what. They'll have to drop a gun over towards Forest, but that's no huge deal. But SK, they get on the board on the 5th round. So with that now, SK finally finding something to work with on a round where they actually had fairly minimal investment too. So for those that have to rebuy, that's not going to be a problem whatsoever. They're already on good footing to try and build up their money, but they've also got to break NiP first, as they're going to have no problem going into this next round. Makalele's back up with the op, but everybody else is full buying back into this one, no problem. And that was an auto sniper pickup too, which is now going to go into the hands of Exist. Again, though, I mean, this is Taco jumping off the broken wall with just a Tech9, and he doesn't get a kill. He loses that fight, but he creates space. I mean, it attracts so much attention that the one player from NiP on the platform just hiding behind the wall is just isolated, so they have plenty of time. Cold finds him with a headshot. That was the big thing. Cold now this round, he steps into the Molotov a little bit too early, burns down to 42. Again, here comes an execution. It's going to be Taco one more time, braving the flashbangs, but GetRight's going to clean him out, and this time Exist is waiting. He's ready with the auto sniper, and here it comes. Fallen going to try to push himself out, not giving himself away just yet. In fact, Exist goes down before he can even do anything with that auto sniper, but Freiburg back behind the statue. He catches the trade on the Fallen, knocking him down. The rest of SK, they're still trying to get themselves really beyond the broken wall. Beyond Fur jumping out, nobody's been able to gain solid footing, and there's Forest finding another pickup. coldzera is knocked out here. Fur trying to look for a kill, but he can't do the finishing job. Forest is going to be able to respond after Fur connects the initial hits, and then GetRight pushing back out is going to find the final frag, and they retrieve the auto sniper for use in the next round. Yeah, even without that auto sniper, I don't even think
get a shot. But I mean, beautiful recovery from NiP. Enough time is bought. I think I like this play from Taco. I mean, obviously you want that player, that first player out, to just be willing to run with those flashbangs and try and make space for you and try and get that kill. But it seems the follow-up behind it from SK is just so far lacking. It used to be, like, you know, Cold and Taco had a very, very good system of entering off that broken wall and Cold following it up and either getting the trade kill or bailing it out. But at the moment, it's just very much Taco kind of abandoned to the hope of a blind NiP player.
You can see the rest of SK again lining themselves up early on here in the B halls. The rest of NiP also going to be waiting for that too. They've only got, at the moment, Makalele just sitting over here at the A doors waiting for the push to come in through the connector, and they've got Forrest a little bit further back too, but he's kind of the rotator, so at a moment we'll probably see him shift back over to the other side. Everybody else has been playing stable on B, and for the most part, they've been playing this very successfully. It's SK, they need to try and find a better way to sort of pierce the veil and get themselves into this B side consistently, be able to start to make this a bit more of a competition.
Yeah, this is a very important round for SK in the context of this half and in terms of their money. No one has anything left. They're all below $200. And they're running out of utility. They have 2 smokes and 2 flashbangs to use, so this is where you would say this drop needs to be successful. Fallen needs to find something for his squad, but at the moment, Get Right just using all of his nades to slow this down. Doesn't want any presence from SK in drop zone. And still, they have not even touched this A bomb site. It's been all B for the SK side.
Still waiting for it now, though, as SK are looking for the first avenue to get inside. They were given control of drop, and this is where Fallen's going to have to try and impact, but he misses the shot and the second follow-up here. They know there's pressure starting to push back out, and they're going to expect the B hit again now. However, this does, as you were mentioning before, with the sudden jump down that came in, it opens up space, but there's that auto sniper now coming into fruition. Exists, dropping Taco. They're going to look for more. Fur is hunting for a kill just outside of this window room, but in the meantime, losing teammates, player after player after player. Freiberg and Exist finding 2 more frags, and now it's just Fallen and Fur as the last 2 standing here. Fur is even going to get knocked out by a jumping Forest. It's just on Fallen here.
And there it was. I mean, the opportunity was there for Fallen coming down drop. There was a small miscommunication in NiP that almost had major consequences. Fallen gets basically a free shot. Someone who's just out in the open and he misses it and can't get the follow-up. And then once that smoke goes down as an AWPer, there's just no way for you to be effective through that. If you're jumping through that as all your teammates are dying, you have no one to distract for you. You have no way to entry through that smoke. So Fallen just gets shut out. And although SK had control of drop, they had no control anywhere else. So a dire situation now as they're forced back onto the pistols. Likely, I mean, they would love a plant here, obviously, but the next round it will be right on the edge of if they'll be able to buy or not.
We'll see SK finally start to send players, at the very least, over towards A long a little bit to investigate what's hiding out there. And at this point in time, it looks like it is going to be just Fallen, although he gets hit with an option. It is returned a little bit of damage to Makalele. Not going to matter in the grand scheme of things, though, as the rest of the team is still stacked up over here just in the B halls, getting ready to go for the same push they've been employing for pretty much the past, like, 6 or 7 rounds now.
This time they have Fallen. He's at least in the A halls right now. I don't think he has any real plan of what he's going to be able to accomplish, but I think more than anything, maybe this round he's just kind of scouting it out and seeing if NiP has any kind of a presence, an aggressive presence in danger stairs. And there's Makalele. At least they find out there's an AWP at this bomb site, so they know there's an auto sniper over towards B, and they know that Makalele has the op at A.
Get right trying to hold himself and drop here, although taking quite a bit of damage on the initial push and using like the entire clip too to be able to find that frag. So he needs to fall back, give them a little bit of room. That will allow them to get into drop, but here's that auto sniper again. Exists, picking up 1 frag with it here. And we do see coldzera trying to find something from in his own regard, but not going to last very long. Freiberg's there for support, and Fur already down to the last man standing here. Obviously not a lot he can do, and Exist just going to push right back in from the other end of the drop room, take him down, and that will lead us into a 7-1 lead now for NiP.
Yeah, suffocating defense so far for them, and a tactical pause comes out for the SK side of things. So now is the question, actually, I mean, as I was about to ask the question, are they going to buy? They go for the buy. So they were right on the edge. They're not going to have an AWP. They're going to have a lot of AKs. And now we see that past round where Fallen went A all alone and just kind of scouted out towards A halls. Or is he going to do anything with that kind of information? Does he have an idea of how he wants to play this next round? Did he see something he thinks he can exploit? And I mean, looking at the SK side of things, known for having Cold, who's been debated as being the best player in the world, or certainly one of them, depending on who you ask, he will be the best. But this is a surprising scoreline we see if you look down the kill total for the SK side of things, because it's not a whole lot of production. Fallen at 0, Taco at 1, FNX at 2, Fur at 3, and Cold at 4. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's a nice little straight there.
0, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Yeah. Well, the pause is going to be a quick one, and we will jump right back into it here now to see if SK decides to try anything different, or if they're still going to stick with the same type of B execute strat that they have been going for the entire half so far. Looking like, at least for now, it's going to lead itself into the B hit, although suddenly players are working their way out the other side of the hall, so this may have a bit of variance to it, depending on if they can find anything early on here, closer to the B side up towards platform. And Exists actually getting aggressive this time, pushing all the way up onto the steps there, and trying to see if he can hunt down any players early on here with some shots at the smoke.
Yeah, just got to be careful. You could see him consider the idea. Like, stop spamming when he's got about 8 bullets left in the auto sniper to make sure no one's going to try and push through that smoke and punish him. And this is, I mean, with that auto sniper, you could see NiP a little bit more confident to put 2 players in drop zone. Freiburg can get right there. Maybe going for a delayed boost, it's looking like. So the timing of this execution is going to be critical for SK, because Get Right is going to have a very, very fast flank when they feel that pressure coming.
They are still going for it, however, into the B bomb site, and even NiP is starting to expect something a little bit different this time. They sent 2 of their own players out towards long A to try and investigate to see if they would send players in that regard, but they didn't see anything. With Makalele and Forrest all clear, so they're going to be able to fully commit themselves to the B site, get ready for the hit. Exist is not ready though. coldzera drops down, drops that auto sniper early on here. They're going to get that first kill. Response is already rolling in, however. Get Right in Freiburg. 2 pickups for them. That's FNX and Cold, both gone down. They do finally get themselves a plant, but NiP still has the advantage for the retake.
Yeah, I mean, it's that fast flank from Get Right, and now I mean, the essential lurker, the guy that pretty much invented it in CS:GO. Where is he going to go with this one? How is he going to lurk it? He's playing it so slow. They've got to be so cautious of Fur. Utility being used. NiP's going to get started, but it's fallen with the opening kill, and Fur was not cleared out. Forrest, he can't win that battle either, so Get Right is on this flank, but he can't really do much. There's a good find, an opportunity still. If that spam comes through, he's on point, but it's not dealing the damage, and now it's too far gone for the win. And he'll be content to just fall away. So NiP change up the defensive tactic at this B bomb site. They play much, much more retake. Due to dedicating Get Right and Freiburg to drop zone, it just exists with that auto sniper. Doesn't work out this round, so 2 on the board for SK now. And
of course, the guys from NiP are not going to have any problem whatsoever rebuying into that one, considering the streak that they had been placing themselves onto here. SK, they're the ones who need to try and keep it a little bit more consistent here and try to keep themselves in the match. 7-2 is still a huge advantage if it continues to anything close to this current scoreline as we go to the end of the half of that. But still, plenty of time to try and bounce back now if they have found what can work for them. And actually, off of the victory, finally just really continuing to throw the same strat through all of that B site. Now is when they're going to change it up as they send things into what has sort of become the default here with 2 outside and lurking towards long A.
That is the only gun round that SK won. The previous round one came with I believe it was 1 AK-47 and 4 Tech-9. So that was the first time that SK's been able to get on the board with a full gun purchase. This time, a little bit more presence for them outside of this A bomb site. Maybe, I mean, the game plan might have been once we have success at B, send some players over towards A, see if we spot anything, see if we can catch someone off guard. It looks like they might be a little bit more committed to it than just that, as FNX and Fallen with the bomb are going to work with Taco to clear out these A halls. They're not going to see any presence here. It's very passive in this A site. Forrest over at the APC. It's going to be Makalele at the doors. That's going to be, I mean, that's got to be a little bit cautious if you're going to play this passively on the A bomb site, just because the smoke execution, if Makalele gets caught on the wrong side and can't actually defend this A site, that leaves Forrest in a whole lot of work to do.
We do start to see SK slowly inching towards it, however, and they seem to be committing more and more to it as the time ticks down. Fur rotating back over there, probably towards the mid connector, and I'm sure coldzera is either going to stick around to be a late entry and a drop to try and drive a wedge and prevent rotations from B, or he'll regroup with the rest back over there in the mid connector, and it seems like he's favoring the drop option right now. And with 2 players still fully committed, if he moves in at the right time, this could be huge effectiveness. Makalele missing that first shot, but he does pick up the second one. That's Fallen getting knocked down. Makalele, however, has to drop back in, and they really can't see much from that corner, so SK are going to have free reign to try and push back in. However, coldzera has yet to move in through drop, and this is where they could really get screwed up here, although they're holding the good defense currently. They are stuck back over there. Exist finding one more, as does Get Right. Taco finding a pickup 2, but now Cold's back in the action. However, he's alone in the 1v3. Seems like he may have jumped into it a little bit too late with only 1 second on the clock. There's nothing he can do. NiP is going to be able to pick up another round here.
Yeah, the response, and then that should have been, I mean, the NiP, they rotate very quickly. Once Makalele sees one person, that's really the first time he's been challenged in a gun round at this A bomb site. So once that happens, the rotation's just very, very quick. And the big difference is that execution comes much later in the round than when SK has gone towards the B bomb site. So that might be a factor that NiP can read into later on in this half. If they start seeing this clock wind down and they don't feel pressure at that B bomb site, start cheating a player over. But regardless, once Fallen gets picked off, SK slows down. And for NiP players to defend that A bomb site, you're not going to win that fight too many times as a terrorist team.
SK go right back to the standard, however, as they are immediately broken again. Now onto the Tech 9s. We've got 1AK still sitting on cold, obviously, as he managed to save, but exists. No reason to worry about that with the scoreline lead that they have, and I believe the fairly stable money that they're still working with here. He's going to be able to push himself forward. Some of that early damage, or tries to do it anyway. Not much success being found, but at the very least tries to hold SK back for a little bit longer. They're going right back to the basics here. Full on execute outside. They don't check that corner, and Freiburg just absolutely destroys two of them. Get right and exist, picking up two more. We did see the one trade from Fur to take down Freiburg, and a random tap out of nowhere from Fallen. Knocks that exists at the very least, but Get Right shuts it down beyond that, and there you have it. 9-2 now in the favor of NiP.
Well, 16-1 for Get Right. So that's a pretty good scoreline from him. He's being so dominant in that drop zone. One of the hardest, I think, one of the hardest positions as a defender to defend in the entirety of Counter-Strike. I think that drop zone is probably the most extremely difficult in how you have to do it and how much you have to change up how you do it so they don't like catch on to any kind of tendencies you have there. So he's doing a phenomenal job of not only that, but reading when he needs to rotate. And now look at this, another switch up from NiP. Actually, Forrest is going to be in these danger stairs, and he's going to have Season Meds walk right into him. This is the initial shot, but Fallen now is going to get taken out by Freiburg, and Freiburg is now over at the A bomb site because the switch up that I wanted to mention was Michael Ailey with the AWP over towards B platform.
Oh.
And there's 16-2, Cold says.
Coldzera, nicely done, waits a little bit longer there to see if anybody decides to inch in a drop to make sure they didn't take control of it there, and it ends up paying off. Now Fur is able to drop in, gets control of the AK, tries to take this battle, but the aim punch does not work out in his favor. However, he still gets good damage on the Forest. Brings him down to 13 HP, and Fur goes down to like 17 now. A little bit of a stalemate in that regard. NiP, though, is still in full control, but what they haven't realized is the bomb wrapped all the way around the map and has now gone into the A-bomb site and is currently walking up for free until just now when Freiburg went back outside and was able to get in the way of it a little bit here.
Oh, that dink hurts. Freiburg very, very low. 1 HP. He's got to fall away. He's got some backup here now, but Forrest and Freiburg are very low, so NiP has to be careful that this doesn't spiral away from them. And what can Fur do? I think Cold is waiting for him to make a play, but that's not going to work. Freiburg spots Cold at range, and Fur still having a good time with the chicken of the pumpkin head.
That's new.
It's that Halloween update. I like it. Yeah, but so Fur with only 7 HP, he can't really do anything. He's just pre-firing these angles, so it is going to be a 10th round for NiP. This defense is looking very, very solid so far. We saw the switch up now. The question is, are they going to go back to it? Are they going to send Michael Ailey again towards the B platform? Was that like a design play because of his spawn, or do they actually want to show a new look towards SK?
We'll wait and see that in just a moment here now as SK, the buy from them as we take a look at what exactly they're going to be able to bring to the table.
You can tell what SK has been doing in this half just by looking at the scoreboard, because Get Right and Freiburg, both defenders over at that B bomb site, have the highest kill count. It's been very, very B emphasis T side from SK, and it has not been successful, obviously. 10-2, but the kill counts for those two is incredible.
See Makalele actually getting a little bit more aggressive over here into the mid connector, this time peeking wide, which could have proved dangerous since he had those two guys to the right that he wasn't really able to see that well. If they decided to push in, could have overwhelmed him pretty quickly, but he gets himself out of there and falls back to the normal spot beyond it. Now he's going to be able to find some nice shots against Taco, and that's actually a really good angle against the smoke there. Spots one of them pushing back in, and he's going to be able to get a glimpse at more in just a second. Three of them trying to push their way up the ramp. Sees it coming, but now he's not going to evacuate. That Molotov is going to break the doorway for him a little bit. Lets him get back outside. Doesn't really take much damage from it, and Fur is going to jump through against Get Right, taking him down. Fallen finding his second kill against Freiburg here, too. They've got to keep it consistent. Forrest finding one trade. Exist picking up 1-2, but all of this is traded out evenly into the favor of SK. It goes into a 1 versus 2. Makalele managed to rotate back over here onto the balcony, gets himself down below, but doesn't see Fur sitting up on top of the truck, and that is going to finally allow him to meet his doom there and allow the guys from SK to pick up a third round.
Yeah, there is that scary timing on these A hits where it did feel like a couple of the NiP players got caught on the wrong side of the smokes when the execution came in, and they really had to risk a lot to get back into that bomb site. So SK with their third round, they have to grind it. It wasn't easy. But either way, still a chance here for them to have a, to pull this into, I mean, despite how dominant it's been for NiP, I mean, SK has never strung rounds together in this entire half, and if they can do it here, it's going to be a very weak buy in the last round for NiP. So this would give a good chance for SK to get up towards just 5, and that's a good start. There's Fallen chiming in early on in the rounds, making the play, and he's going to get a second one as well. Forrest swinging out behind the flames, but he can't find the kill.
Get Right counter boosting once more, trying to see if he can find an impact here to try and trade back the kills a little bit, but he's been loud stomping up to here. They're going to know he's around the corner. Fur takes the battle, and Get Right's going to get dropped. So there you go, another kill going by the way of SK, and they basically have the map. The map is their oyster at this point. They can go wherever they want to, and it's be very little worry. It's all down to Exist and Freiburg. Both have been isolated to the general area of the B-bomb site, so SK won't even have trouble getting the bomb down. It's going to be a walkover for them, and more than likely, NiP are going to have to save.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, in this situation, if I'm Freiburg and Exist, or if I'm an NiP teammate, I'm just saying you guys need to try and save that gun. They need to group up and try and fall back towards B. Fur is lurking to prevent the save, and he might be able to catch off Exist. It's all going to come down towards timing. And I think Exist spotted him. Yeah, he did. There's a nice headshot. So Exist has cleared the evacuation route for Freiburg, who's going to go meet up with them. And no one from SK is really hot on their heels. No one's really chasing this down. FNX is going to try and cut off any more pushing. But, I mean, NiP, Exist, and Freiburg are going to be content to just chill here. And with the money that they have, these are two very, very important rifles to bring into the next round, because Exist will be able to drop one. Freiburg maybe drop a FAMAS, but I mean, it's gonna be a pretty rough buy. Freiburg can drop an M4 or get utility, so they'll at least be able to bring help their teammates bring rifles into the next round with good nades.
Though, as you mentioned previously, from NiP may not end up being the best, but it looks like NiP are going to take their pause right here as well to try to figure this out a little bit in the 15th round. Just figuring things out for the final round, as finally SK have gotten some footing, so they want to make sure they end this one on a strong note.
Yeah, I mean, I like this tactical pause because it is going to be with the weaker buy. So you figure out, exactly how you want to play it. Who's supporting who's getting the rifles, where do you want to try and find that early advantage. It was good to see last round Fallen with those opening 2 kills. That was massive. I mean, you said it. He already had, as soon as he got those 2 kills, he just hustled. He knows there's only 2 players there. So he gets up into the A bomb site very, very quickly, and he just waits and he holds and he tells his teammates to come back. And with that ADVP, he can prevent anyone from NiP coming through those choke points.
Buy from NiP actually doesn't end up being so bad at the end of the day, though. Pretty much everybody still gets a rifle in hand. I'm not sure if Exist is going to be able to find one for himself. It depends on if they manage to throw one on the ground for him. It doesn't look like they have one, so I think he's going to be one of the few that end up working with a pistol. Actually, no, they do manage to get him one, so he's going to have something to work with here in this round after all. So everybody's still got a rifle. There's like decent utility. Pretty much the entire team has smokes to work with. There's actually quite a few Molotovs. The biggest area they're weak on is like flashbangs and whatnot, but they should still have a lot to try and hold back the initial push from SK, which should still allow them to, at the very least, to bring down the time a little bit. It's been a department that SK has been struggling on. There's at least 2 of these rounds I think have come down to the timer.
And we'll see now. It goes back towards this B bomb site. Molotov to force Exist away. There's the flashbang. It seemed like Exist was waiting for that. Might have heard the sound cue. Might have just been expecting it from experience against SK. But he at least doesn't get punished by Taco. And Taco decides not to commit. So the tactic is just to see him get out towards platform, give him maybe 5 seconds to find a kill, and then just fall away. But what it does do, that little bit of pressure, look how much utility it forces out of the hands of NiP. They were already low to begin with, but now, I mean, only 3 members with nades, and it's 2 flashes, 1 smoke, and 1 Molotov. And
SK are going to go back to the same strat that they've been employing for pretty much this entire half, with a few exceptions. Going directly into that B-bomb site. Everybody grouping up for it now. The players that were lurking over towards A have now abandoned that and have grouped up with the main pursuit over here. 3 from NiP are going to be waiting for this hit to come into this site, however, as we've seen before. But it's a very heavy commitment over on the A site in the meantime. It's not the lighter commitment we've seen in previous rounds. But Forest and Makalele are going to take quite a bit of time to be able to get into this bomb site. If we don't see trades coming out from NiP, SK made his walk right onto it. That's a good pop flash, though, and Exist is going to be able to pick up at least 1 on the first push that rolls in here. However, he's traded back down. Freiburg from behind the statue, along with Get Rid, are going to pick up 2 more, but those are also traded out. It goes down to a 2v2, but Forest immediately shuts out the final players, and with that, NiP are going to pick up an 11th. They're going to hold a very strong lead coming off of this CT side, and we're going to see in the second half if they get to continue that or not. Guys, stick around for it. We'll be back in just a little bit to determine if NiP or SK will be the victors here in this group stage matchup. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is NiP, the Ninjas in Pajamas, currently shutting down SK, coming off of their CT side at half. 11-4 is the scoreline, and SK are going to be on recovery duty, starting right from the beginning of this half now, as they will jump on at the CT side. Moses, looking at that first half, what were like the key issues for these players now that need to be solved on the CT side?
Well, I mean, a lot of it, Fallen was noticeably quiet just because we expect a little bit more from his style of opping and what he's done in the past. I think the big thing was how often SK focused on that B bomb site, much like Immortals earlier on in the day. A lot of focus on B, and then when they switch it up and go A, they actually have more success than when they were hitting that B bomb site so much. So that's interesting. For me, NiP on the defensive side, it was a very proactive defense. In that last round, Exist gets that flash and peeks, and he gets one kill, but he gets so much information, and now we have Fur. I mean, that's just a quick battle going on between him and Force, and he's going to win it. The rest of NiP coming towards the B site, but it's going to be cold. That's a deadly execution.
Freiberg trying to wrap himself around a little bit here, but coldzera, he's back now, shutting things down. 3 quick kills for him, and everything falls to Exist. He's going to try to fall back, but someone's meeting him there to cut him off. Fallen is going to take him in this 1v1 here. Just waiting for it. I think Exist is aware of that one, so he's going to creep up a little bit here towards drop to try and look for an avenue in here. And as he moves towards it, everybody has him surrounded at this point. Oh, the nice triple shot from Exist. Yields him at least one more kill, but there you go. The jumping shot from Fur. He's going to finish things off. And SK will have their chance to get back into this game as they'll pick up the second half pistol.
Yeah, Cold's in it. Cold's around. He wanted to make sure that everyone knows he's still alive in the server. That was a ridiculous round from him. 6 shots. And we have a pause coming out, which is very interesting. I'm not sure what this will be about this early on in the half, just after pistol round. Don't see timeouts too early in the halves like this.
Did say tack on the pause, so that is a bit strange indeed to try and discuss how exactly they want to. I mean, yeah.
Maybe it's mind games. Maybe they're like, all right, SK, what do you think we're talking about here? Although I guess they do have, what, 4 timeouts now? 4 30-second timeouts?
Yeah, but I think you're limited to 2 per half, aren't you?
I do not know.
I think that's the...
Cool.
I could be wrong, but...
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is just very curious. I'd love to know what they're talking about or what it might be. This is pretty quick even for 30-second timeout, I feel like.
Yeah, so just a quick, brief one from NiP, and we'll see what exactly they did discuss in a moment here. But obviously the buy rolls in regardless. Tech 9s and armors, just saving up a little bit there and just going for the B250. But immediately Fur pushing out from the mid connector, finds Forest, already knocking out one of them there. Certainly not the best way to start it if we're going to try to play aggressively over here towards the A-bomb site, but there's going to be players waiting for them even in that area. Fallen playing to this spot of the map, and he's going to have his first contest versus Get Right in a moment. Handles that very nicely, and is going to probably fall back to the site.
Yeah, it seems like that aggression from Get Right up the stairs wasn't properly aligned with his teams coming down those halls. There's finally the return kill from Exist, but it feels like the damage is done. Well, I mean, it definitely is. He's the only one left, and he's going to fall there. And I have to say, I don't like this. I didn't like that second. I don't like that call to buy there in the second round. You're up 11-4. We saw like what the start for the T side was for SK Gaming when they did something very similar. That first gun round, they didn't really have any options because they had no utility. NiP is going to be in a very, very similar situation this next round with a massive lead. So, you know, going to help SK get back into this game a little bit.
Very quickly, SK will find themselves at a scoreline that'll prove to be very manageable, even if NiP start trading out rounds a little bit with them. As long as SK can manage a streak or 2 here on the CT side, then they will be able to chain this back together and possibly be able to steal the lead away and take this map, as NiP took a very huge lead here at the beginning, but they're going to be on recovery duty themselves now, as SK are looking good to pick up the first 3 rounds, and if they pick up the gun round, well, that's where things will prove to be a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, right, with a little bit of alert, but it's all... There's no real danger here for SK. I mean, it's all Glocks. Exist has a P250, but I mean, what can you really expect NiP to be able to do here? They'd love a plant. It looks like Forrest, maybe he's way out towards top of mid. I'm maybe thinking that if they hit B bomb site and have any kind of success, he can just plant the bomb at A, but for the moment, it's just kind of a stalemate, as NiP seems to be playing very passively, waiting for any aggression, waiting for any pushes, and SK just doesn't have any reason to do it, because they know they're going against just Glocks.
coldzera and FNX both waiting for the drop hit to come in here too, and more than likely this is going to get absolutely destroyed if they try to go for it here. There's the first one already found against Exist. Get Right will have Makalili to support him if they decide to go for it here, but yeah, again, they're ready for this one, and they've even got the 2 players that are on the A site ready to rotate just in the event that things fall apart. All 4 of the remaining players are going to try to drop in. They trade out 1, but that seems to be the only 1 kill that they're going to be able to find here. Forrest picking up that one, and Freiberg has been spotted as the last man standing. He's hunting for something with the headshot angle, but it's not going to work out. Fur gets the last kill, and SK escaped that one pretty clean, only losing FNX due to the chaos of that 4-man push.
All right, so now we have the gun round. Now we have the AK-47s come out. We're going to see what kind of utility they're able to bring into this round. And it's actually pretty good. I think it's a little bit better than what SK had in the first half. They do have 4 smokes. They've got 1 Molotov on Get Right, enough flashes to make something work. So they've got some options open to them. It's not like with SK in their 4th round on the T side where they were pretty much dedicated to the single execution they decided upon. NiP can prod a little bit. They can, they can apply some pressure and see what the response is going to be like. But for the moment, obviously, as we see on Cobblestone, smokes and these choke points are going to slow everything down towards this B bomb site.
And the same type of lineup that we were seeing the guys from SK use quite a bit in the last half here, with the one exception being Forest, of course, poking a little bit over towards the A bomb site just to try and keep the more default players from SK in that site for a little bit longer.
This is really cool. Forrest just throws a smoke towards Danger Stairs and 1 flashbang that blinds the player spot, the CT player spawning from double doors, and he doesn't even commit at all. It's just that 1 flashbang blinds Fur long enough that he says, I don't know if someone could be in there. I don't have the intel, so that forces Fallen back. Just with 1 smoke and 1 flashbang without even risking his life, Forrest already putting a little bit of pressure on the defense over on the other side of the map.
We can see now NiP starting to creep up a little bit to get that early drop control. Very key to get them into the site if they can get this early on here, especially with SK now playing a little bit more passively, not taking the active role to try and defend it as much as NiP was in the last half here, really keeping players on the outside area to watch for this one. So they've managed to get 2 down inside, and they've got the other 2 players ready to push up towards Brookwell, but Taco actually aggressively pushing in there. They just want to find the intel, though, however. FNX will pick up the first kill against Freiburg. Get Right trades. He looks for the second, but Taco holds with the SMG. He's going to be able to take him down, and Coldzera inside of the chicken coop. He's got the op to work with here. He's picked up his first kill against Exist, going to smoke himself off. Unfortunately, most of the efforts now from NiP have proved to not work out so great. And in this 2v4, it would take a miracle to bring it back, although Forrest is going to start it off here with his first kill. Fallen trades, and now Forrest is alone in the 1v3 and very overexposed from that position. Fallen is going to be able to punish, take him down, and yield, I believe, the 8th round for SK.
Classic danger of SK is this double op setup between Fallen and Cold. It's so effective, and I know a lot of analysts don't think that it can work on Cobble, that it's not a very viable tactic to have 2 ops on this map, but when you have guys like Fallen, you have a guy like Cold, as long as Cold just gets his 1 kill and stays alive, that's beautifully done in Chicken Coop for him, and then it's so hard for NiP to make any progress. So they had no utility to flush Cold out of the Chicken Coop. Even he preventatively smoked himself off to prevent a Molotov, so just really, really nice defense for SK.
And now NiP are going to go for a bit of a change-up here on the eco round, just directly into the A-bomb site. Fallen aggressive early on here to spot some of this, but now he's down at 7 HP. And it's possible of him being cut off from suicide, but a fairly slow follow from NiP is actually going to let him escape back to the site. Fur doesn't get any kills at all from over in the back here. It's Freiburg that manages to drop him early on, actually, so they've got the advantage going into this site. Fallen managed to drop back to the alleyway, but at 7 HP, that's not really going to be a great and secure position for him. If they just spray down into the alleyway, they can find him, and there you have it. Get Right catches the kill, and now all of a sudden we're in a 5-on-3.
Yeah, and FNX is brought solo. He can't really do anything. Mike Laley runs right into it, and he predicts it. There's shadows on the ground. That's what's helping him. But either way, down into a 3-on-1. There's now an M4 salvage. There's an AWP on Get Right as well. Taco in a 1-on-3. The bomb is going to get planted any second, and NiP, they pull one out with just pistols. Early damage to Fallen, early damage to FNX prevents them from getting involved too effectively into the fight. And Furry, I mean, you have to say, that position in middle with no one checking for the first 3 seconds, for 20 bullets of his clip, and he needs to get at least 2 kills there.
And with that, all of a sudden, NiP go right back into control of things here. The buy-in from SK rolls out. They've got the double up setup sitting on Cold and Fallen, but FNX and Taco have to go down to shotguns and Fur on an M4. Money is really not going to be that great. In fact, every single player of SK is now sitting with $50 left over after those buys. So they're broke if they drop this round, and that is NiP retaking the lead in huge strides here.
Yeah, in a big way. SK cannot afford to lose this round. That would get NiP up to close to match point way too early. So they're going to have to make do with these shotguns. Fallen has no armor. There's no kits on the CT side. They're going to start running out of utility. They only have 2 smokes left to block the choke points. And the question becomes, maybe they don't want to use them. They have 2 AWPs. But again, it's going to be Cold at the chicken coop. And how does NiP, excuse me, solve that issue of him?
Still early on in the half, but we've yet to really see a whole lot of success with NiP going for these kinds of B hits here. They've been given drop control for at least 1 or 2 rounds, but they've yet to really find a good way to get themselves outside of it. And with the shotgun in play here too from FNX, he can find a lot of good defense from even in this transition room, as we've seen many times in the past here. It's going to come down to the party back over there. pushing over towards Broken Wall to get themselves out and get them a little bit more room to work with. But there comes the initial push. The shotgun shots actually don't connect. It's Taco from the other end of that one that finds most of the impact there. But Exist trades out 2 more. There's the Broken Wall impact we needed to see. Now, though, they need to manage coldzera back over here by Chicken Coop. And at the moment, that's not going to be possible. He knocks out Makalele, and this goes into a 2 versus 3. Cold just holds back, too. There's no reason to push out from the other end. And when he does, finds Forrest looking the complete other direction here. It falls to Exist, now down into a 1 versus 2 after he takes out Fur. He's having to deal with both of the ops, but as soon as he walks out into the open, coldzera is going to find the closing shot on this round and pick up the 9th round for the Brazilian squad.
Cold again, just the self-smoke that he uses, and NiP gets caught by it again. And even that, I mean, the double shotgun, excuse me, in drop zone, NiP was not prepared for that. Even still, this 2-up setup has been successful now a couple times, and NiP going to go back towards the buy. They have 3 AK-47s, actually, yeah, 3 AK-47s, 2 Tech 9s. So still a very dangerous buy. But I mean, going towards this B bomb site with a double op setup doesn't seem to be successful for NiP at the moment. They've lost a couple rounds this way. So now back again towards the A bomb site where they won their first round of the half.
Keeping them in this game for now, and NiP here are going to have to try and look for recovery, and they're going to go back over towards the A site once again. It worked for them in the last round. Fallen, though, is ready for it. He's got a nice angle just over here behind the wall leading up onto the ramp. Catches Makalele and promptly falls back, but there's Exist and Get Right catching 2 players out in the open. FNX is able to peek out from the main doorway here and picks up an additional kill against Exist, but still, Taco needing to bring this back a bit more, and he does. Knocks out Get Right, and all of a sudden the advantage is switched. Now it's SK that holds control of things here, and it's NiP that are going to have to take things a lot more slowly to get up to this site and find the plant.
We'll have to cross now as well. They have no smoke for this. Freiburg's just got to run the gauntlet, and he does it. Help of a flashbang. Taco, low HP, still waiting. And Forrest has got to try and alleviate some pressure for his teammates. So they're going to get the bomb planted. It is going to be all on Forrest's position. And when the rotation comes in, Cold with this. Oh, there's the first kill. That's nice. Cold now with the AWP. He's got to find his way out, and you know he's going to play with this smoke. Hoping that it buys himself some room, but Forrest playing with it himself. Oh, he's missing the spray. He seemed to have all the advantages. Now he's got to bail out. He's got to reload, and Cold finds Freiburg in the meantime, and they have him trapped. There's nowhere for him to go. And Forrest is going to be deathly upset with himself after that one.
Falls to pieces in SK now. We're just within 2 rounds of tying this back up. NiP as well are completely broken as far as their money is concerned. They've just started building up a losing bonus. On average, these players are sitting at around $500 each. There's no way they're going to be able to justify anything beyond just an upgraded pistol or 2 going into this next round. It's going to be very light indeed for them, and that yields really good results for possibly SK to come back all of a sudden.
I imagine it's going to be a little bit of a half buy from NiP. You know, Tech 9 armor, very light utility, just because they got 3 kills. The money on the SK side isn't that good, and they don't want it to build up. So you want to invest a little bit to at least be able, at the very minimum, be able to deal the damage to force the rebuys. You want to keep this economy low so you have it in a constant state of resetting it.
We do see across the map here now, NiP, they're going to try to push themselves towards drop once again, and Falling got counter boosted pretty early on there. Missed the shot grenade, but spotted the early push from Get Right. Not going to be too big of a deal. He doesn't find that kill when you consider that everybody from NiP is still working with just the upgraded pistols. Deagles across the board, everybody except for Makalele. And Exist is hunting for this player that had pushed up the steps, but it's he himself that gets dropped down, loses about 2/3 of his health pool, down to 32 HP, as the rest fall back away from the B halls and yield over towards A instead.
It is very interesting to see NiP with all of these deagles, just kind of using the range, trying to find an opening pick. Relying a lot on it, even Get Right going for the small armor to help. Obviously, Makalele doesn't invest in the deagle because he wants all the money he can to have an AWP, to have armor behind it, to have a solid buy with that op. Also, both teams have seemingly, focused on B, but had more success at A. Now, Fur, that's a good trade from Exist. Good find. Makalele falls. That's only the Glock, so no huge deal, but falling in the site. This is the next danger. Oh, Forrest shuts him down. This provides an opening. Can NiP get into the site? A bomb plan would be so good for NiP at this stage.
Exist still trying to hold it and still connecting more of these deagle shots. Both FNX and Cold have been hit by it. The problem is his damage is also getting traded on NiP, and the bomb still has to cross over here through the main doorway to get us up to the site. Get Right now has a rifle to work with, and he's got armor even sitting behind it too, so he's actually got a really good fight to try and hold this back, but there's the op coming back in from coldzera all of a sudden, finding Freiburg to knock him down. Get Right trying to hold the line. He actually does find Taco and Exist inside of the chicken. Oh, inside of the shed here, but Get Right finding another kill back by the main doorway. He's taking down Cold, and look at how low FNX is, sitting at 24 HP, and not only this too, but Exist has the perfect angle sitting just below, but actually that's going to be spotted by FNX. He's able to punish this. This goes into a 1 versus 1. The health pool's so low on either side, but FNX, oh! Get Right caught on an off angle, but he's able to spin at the last moment, and he shuts it down. A 3K on the round for him. And with that, he's going to save NiP here and keep the lead going for them.
phenomenal deagle shots from NiP, and that's exactly why you do it. Obviously, you can't count on those shots every single time you have the deagles, but the possibility is there. And even if they lose that round, if you look at the money of SK, I mean, the damage that was dealt, they now can't buy because they've kept that economy so low for so long. That's the breaking point NiP needed. SK can't even afford to buy utility. They can barely afford to upgrade any pistols if they choose to. I mean, they have to be able to bring whatever they can into the next rounds because NiP, with that win, it's so critical in terms of where the money's at.
Now NiP still trying to string some rounds together here. They're going to push forward. SK are broke, however. So in theory, this should be a walk in the park for NiP, but they need to make sure they don't get caught up by these pistols, as we've seen so many times in the past. Moving forward, though, they find that first kill. Forrest knocking out Fur. The jump in from Exist. Caught without a rifle for a second. So he's going to lose half of his HP in the process, and Fallen blaming them a bit, but it seems like they've managed to handle things pretty well here. Now already bringing this down to a 5v2, and Get Right already in position to punish Taco when he pushes him to catch him initially, but seems to have control of the situation. Actually, just trade out to the Teagle, and well, that's going to be a quick headshot for the follow-up.
Just takes his head off, even dropping the AK first. But, I mean, NiP, one thing we should note, because it's been very quiet, he snuck up on the scoreboard as Exist is having such a very good game. He just briefly took over the top of the scoreboard. Him and Get Right are tied with 24 kills. You might not have expected that after the first half. He didn't have a bad half, but it was Get Right and Freiburg at the top of it. So Gold is going to get one kill. He's going to dink another one, but I mean, they know he's at the rock and he's kind of pinned down on each side, but they still can't find him, and there's Forrest finally coming in to clean it out. 14-10 now, and you got to imagine NSK is going to buy here, and what are they going to be able to bring forward? Shotguns, perhaps. FAMAS, they won't have a whole lot. Fallen's going to have the shotgun. 3 FAMAS on Cold, FNX, and Fur. It's desperate times for SK.
Taco as well, unfortunately, really won't be able to bring anything else, so he just adds the one M4 to the table, but because of that, when he pays a heavy price of just really not adding any extra utility, they've got the basic kit here. Smokes for the entire team, 2 flashbangs on some of these guys, and like a random HE grenade and a decoy grenade sitting on Fallen, but beyond that, nothing really great. And the guys from NiP are going to be able to bait that out early in the round, like we actually saw, I think it was like the last round of the half from NiP themselves when they were on CT side, and that could lead them into a very easy ticket to get into the site itself. But however, we're going to see Freiburg, despite the early signals with the Shadow, Freiburg's still going to walk right up there and get the instant one-shot into Fallen.
I was going to say, that's so dangerous considering you could see the Shadow coming from Freiburg a mile away, but phenomenal job from him knowing the angles in these A-halls. Fallen's out of the fight. Running out of nades is SK. They have no kits as well. It's going to be all based on skill, and at the moment, it's a little bit scary. It seems like NiP's caught on to the fact that A is where they should be going. They haven't gone back towards B. They're finding the success here. For a long time, it was just Fur, but now Cold and Taco have rotated over. This is a clever boost from Forrest, trying to see what he can in the smoke. He takes a lot of damage, and Fur wins the battle against Freiburg as well. So he's got an opportunity to get 2 kills, but he's just going to fall away. He's equalized for his team. He's at least made things even, and all the meanwhile, the next fight is Get Right lurking over towards Drop. He's going to be going up against FNX any moment now. How diligent is he going to be? The shoulder peek, and he wins that fight. That's critical. That forces Taco and Cold to leave the A site. Fur is going to be all alone again, and that's where the main hit is coming from.
But no shift at all from NiP. They're still going directly for the A hit here now, and it's all, as you mentioned just a moment ago, on to Fur to try and hold out onto that one. Cold and Taco are trying to investigate. They've left the player with 14 HP sitting on the A bomb site. However, NiP have been very slow to follow this up with the actual hit, so they've cleared things out. They've made sure there's no actual hit, and there's only 15 seconds on the clock. NiP have to run into this site now, and they don't have any time to hold back, to take down individual players here. Pushing forward, Coldzera is actually easy pickings as his first, so they somehow make it work. And with 5 seconds on the clock, that bomb's going to go on the ground, and Taco is going to be left into a 1v4 retake scenario.
This is a big boy performance from Get Right in this match. 2 critical kills as the clock is running down. They know there's one under balcony. He gets that kill and he spins and he protects his teammate to plant the bomb, getting 1 more kill in the back of the site. That's huge. Get Right not taking any risks. 15-10, and again, SK, they just don't have the money to get involved in these rounds to any kind of real degree. 2 UMPs, 5 7s for everyone else. I mean, they have good utility at the very least. Again, no kits, but pistols and SMGs against the AWP and 4 AKs. This is a mismatch.
SK are going to have to try to pull up Miracle here if they want to keep themselves in this match. They battled so hard around the comeback, but all of a sudden they're down 5 rounds here now. They've got to win all 5 of them straight if they want to try to take this into overtime here and still take control of this matchup. Disallow NiP from picking up another point here in the group stage. But from SK themselves, still spread out actually quite heavily into the A-bomb site too. You not only have Fallen in the usual push-up over here towards long A, but you've got Fur hugging a close angle down to the bottom of ramp there. So that's a long rotation in the event. We see NiP go for a direct hit here. They're going to ponder those. They're still working with the usual default setup. Nobody's committed to either side, and they keep the bomb at a medium point. So at any moment, this could change and work its way over to the A site.
NiP being very patient, don't want to risk anything. And yeah, I mean, they've had so much success over at A, you think they'd want to, you know, putting some pressure. Maybe, I mean, this is the scary part for SK because there's been so much success at A, because they've hit B so many times, though. The fake is a real issue in the back of the minds of the SK players. Again, it's just going to be Get Right lurking over towards drop, over towards the B bomb site, and 4 players for NiP slowly working their way through A. It's just Fallen and Fur. So it's 157, 1 UMP, and Fallen's going to be first up. Can he fall back? He has to go down Danger Stairs, and he wins that battle. That's huge. This flashbang could allow him to get an AK-47, and he spots one more in the doors, and he can't recover in time. He does his best, but he does eventually fall. Forrest is next up. Got to clear out FNX, and there it is. He's diligent as well, clearing that angle. One more down on the ramp. That's Fur, and the rotations are on as well.
Fur is going to try to hold on here too, but he's shut out. Now Taco, one of the last few standing here, rolls out, picks up a kill, as does coldzera. Things are not done yet. It's into a 2 versus 1 now. coldzera versus Makalele. After Get Right's able to take out Taco, and coldzera returns the favor onto him, but immediately Makalele just gets the final shot on coldzera, and with that, NiP are going to close out this matchup. 16-10 is going to be the final score, and they will take this very important match.
Yeah, a phenomenal match from NiP, and it really comes down to the T side for both of these teams, because NiP, they figured out much earlier on to just abandon those hits towards the B bomb site. It was just you know, we had so much success over towards A. It's that Deagle round they win that crippled the economy of SK at a very important moment in the match. Just very good adjustments from the NiP side.
All right, guys. And obviously we saw there from SK too that obviously they were very hard-headed in their push over there towards the B-bomb, so they always stuck to it, really only changing it. I think after they won one of the rounds on the B hit is when they finally went towards the A side a little bit more. They finally realized it, but it was really far towards the end of the half. They finally started picking up rounds, and it just seemed like it was a little bit too much to come back from. They were on the cusp of it throughout the entire course of the second half, but they never actually made it happen.
And I mean, phenomenal performance from Get Right and Freiburg on the defensive side of things, and then you switch over. I mean, Get Right continued his great game, but it was Exist who quietly caught up, just with, you know, a frag here or there. It wasn't any kind of explosive, you know, 4-kill round, any kind of explosive clutch, but you know, just he was getting his 1 to 2 per round, having his impact, and then you all of a sudden you hit tab and he's at the top of the scoreboard. Don't know how it happened, but I mean, a great performance from everyone on the NiP side.
All right, guys, it looks like we have the analysis waiting for us back over at the desk. Let's take it over to them and get their thoughts on this epic matchup.
Was blue, and now 16-10 this time in favor of NiP. Lots of loud Swedish screams, which is testament to just how important that first best of 1 was. One of the bigger dogs, one of the bigger fish to fry for the NiP side, and they managed to do so rather convincingly. 16-10 the final score. Now, Janko, do we start by talking about the performance from SK, what our expectations in reality? I think that's probably a good one to start with the Brazilians.
Unfortunately, it's still a bit disappointing from SK. You know, talking to some of the players, they say that they were working on their Cbble, that they have a lot of new stuff prepared for the map, but we don't really see it from the game. I mean, it looks very similar to the Immortals Envious matchup, where SK in the beginning continuously forces the issue on that B bomb site. Now, I understand it's always a mind game. Maybe your opponents are thinking you're going to switch, but you just keep going B. But they're not going to think that if you don't at least get some map control towards A or apply pressure, then go back to B. It just makes the job for the CTs, who are supposed to struggle to get info. They have the info. If you don't pressure them towards A, they have a good idea that it's going to be B.
Chad, I'm sure you have something to add to this. You had a kind of a lot of intrigue regarding SK's reluctance to go A.
Yeah, you know, they were not really putting much pressure on that A side of the map early, and it doesn't make sense when you can use very limited utility to take mid control and A long, A corridors, whatever you want to call it. A couple of Molotovs, a couple of smokes. You still have a lot of utility left to do executes late at B, or you could do them at A. And once you set that, you know, you put the fear of God in the CTs. They don't know if you're in that middle area, if you have danger control. You need to push them back to make them use utility, make them feel uncomfortable, and that's what you want to do. And once you have map control, then you can make a decision. It looked like the decision off the bat was always, we're going to go towards B. Once we get B to work, then we'll go to A. But it just, like you said, telegraphed.
And even if you go, okay, you want to go B and you have some new execute or something a bit special, something a bit different that the CTs are not going to expect, and you want to run it over again. We didn't really see that from SK. You know, they just decide to jump out. They have a smoke for chicken coop, smoke for the doors, perhaps, and that's it. Taco gets flashed in. You could see from his scoreboard to an extent, had a poor game, didn't manage to create any openings from his team in those executes. And then after they decide, they see, okay, let's try and switch it up. Then they slowly take control of A, but just finish on A as well. NiP at that point can get a pretty decent read that they are going to, after being denied on B and getting control on A, that they are going to finish there. I would have much preferred if they fake the A, execute, and just end up going on B.
Right.
In
So,
that occasion.
Some of SK's success was just the let's run B and throw a flashbang, and that was actually some of the rounds we saw them get the most progress onto the side. I don't want to get too hung up on SK. I want to make sure that we can give some due credit to NiP as well. Exist at the top of the scoreboard alongside Get Right. That's not a sight we so often see.
He's the player playing statue on B. I mean, he had a lot of action coming his way and was definitely on point in this game.
I mean, Makalele, was it you that pointed out, Sponge? You're like look at the A player.
Yeah, he only had 4 or 5 kills in that first half. They just weren't going to his bomb site, so he didn't really have to do anything, and the rest of his teammates were doing all the work for him. I know we're moving from SK right now. I just want to quickly touch on one point. SK in their wheelhouse, so to speak, at one point used to have Mirage, Cobble, Overpass, Inferno, Train. They were all maps which they were happy to play no matter what.
Right.
It seems like now they're not so certain on Mirage, not so certain on Cobble. Obviously, Inferno's gone. The Nuke's up in the air. Case they don't play. Train is their best map at the moment, but nobody's going to play them on that map. So they're just looking a bit uncertain on those maps.
It just feels like if Train is banned, they don't have a strong first pick for them. I think they themselves are not sure, okay, if we can't pick Train, what is our strongest map after Train?
Right. I mean, wouldn't you make an argument for Overpass?
You would, but they haven't been on top of the game on Overpass either recently, so they've been switching between these maps, trying to find one that they're actually performing well on, but they're struggling to find it. And again, they did start that comeback in the second half. It was looking good, but then once more, they have the issues towards the A bomb side against weak buys. Okay, that first round by Fur, unfortunately, whiffing the spray, but even after that, to me, it still seems that they're playing like 2 individuals instead of as a duo, and that's hurting them a lot.
They've lost their mojo. It does seem like, to quote Austin Powers, he's lost his mojo, and that's what SK have as well.
On that point that Yanko's making at that A bomb site, if you're going to play 2 people individually, one in the corridor, A long section, and one spotting middle, what you want is one person's in a more of like a all-in position. So like Fur could be up close, going for as many kills as possible. Then once the information's been found out, you want Fallen to stay alive in the bomb site, or whoever is in the bomb site, so that the teammates rotating in through Romeo/Juliet, Vent Room, and Connector can flash and help, so you can pick, and they can also set up good crossfires. It was like both A players were dying before the rotation had come in to help them, so they were both either too committed individually, so they weren't making any frags, or they weren't delaying enough time for their teammates to rotate in.
Roger that. And if anyone's wondering what on earth Shakespeare is doing in our discussions as well, that's actually Chad's awesome call for balcony on Cobble. I know that's not necessarily everywhere.
Who's on top?
Meant to be Juliet, and then
Romeo's
below.
sitting there going, wherefore art my Juliet?
Yeah, that never works.
No. Well, I'm sitting outside windows.
Or having women on top.
Okie dokie. I'm straight over my head and straight towards the break, because that is enough. NiP pick up the win versus SK. A big win for the Swedes, as they're going to go ahead and go 1-0 up in Group B. Much more to come, though. 2 more best of ones for our first day here at the ESL Pro League Finals, live from São Paulo. Up next, we get to see the boys from NRG give it another whack, this time versus a team that they're more familiar with. It will be Cloud9 going up against them after our break.